Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest enemy of your future is not the devil, not your critics, not the economy. It is the old version of you. The person you were yesterday is perfectly designed to produce the results you are living today. So if you are tired of your current results, you must declare war on your current self. Write this down: growth is intentional, not accidental. You will never drift into greatness. You must decide to outgrow who you used to be. The tragedy of life is not death. The tragedy is a life that refuses to evolve. The cemetery is full of people who never met their next level because they were too comfortable with their last one. Let me ask you something that may disturb you. Are you loyal to your potential, or are you loyal to your comfort? Because you cannot be committed to both. The old version of you loves excuses. The old version of you negotiates with fear. The old version of you says, tomorrow. But the new version of you says, now. And if you are waiting to feel ready, you will wait forever. Readiness is a decision. Maturity is a decision. Growth is a decision. You must force yourself into rooms that stretch you, into disciplines that challenge you, into habits that refine you. Pressure does not destroy diamonds, it reveals them. Comfort is dangerous because it feels safe. Let me begin with a question that may disturb your peace. If your current habits were to remain unchanged for the next 5 years, would your life improve or simply repeat? The greatest threat to your destiny is not failure, it is familiarity. The old version of you is addicted to what is predictable. It wakes up at the same time, thinks the same thoughts, entertains the same fears, and then wonders why nothing changes. But growth does not respond to comfort. Growth responds to pressure. You must understand something profound. Your comfort zone is not a place of rest. It is a place of stagnation. It is a beautifully decorated prison. It whispers, stay here, you're safe. But safety has never produced significance. Every breakthrough in your life will require a breaking away from something familiar. You cannot expand while remaining confined to old patterns. If it doesn't stretch you, it will shrink you. If it doesn't challenge you, it will chain you. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you did something that intimidated you? When was the last time you chose growth over convenience? Because destiny is allergic to laziness. Purpose does not partner with procrastination. The old version of you negotiates with discomfort. It says, I'll start tomorrow. I'll try next month. I'll wait until I feel ready. But readiness is a myth created by fear. You do not grow by feeling prepared. You grow by stepping forward despite feeling unprepared. Comfort convinces you that average is acceptable. It tells you that survival is success. But you were not born merely to survive. You were designed to expand, to multiply, to dominate your potential. The tragedy of many lives is not lack of opportunity, it is excess comfort. When you become too comfortable with your income, your circle, your knowledge, your routine, you begin to decay without realizing it. Growth requires friction. Muscles only grow when they are resisted. Minds only expand when they are challenged. Character only develops when it is tested. You say you want the next level, but are you willing to endure the next pressure? Elevation demands separation. You may have to separate from old habits, old conversations, even old environments. The old version of you thrives in familiar surroundings. The new version of you is built in unfamiliar territory. That new business idea, that new skill, that new discipline, they will all feel uncomfortable at first. That discomfort is not a sign to retreat. It is evidence that you are expanding. Here is a powerful truth. Everything you desire exists outside your current comfort zone. Confidence grows when you confront what you fear. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is movement in spite of it. When you force yourself to wake up earlier, to study longer, to practice harder, to speak up when you would rather stay silent, you are stretching the boundaries of your old identity. And identity expansion is the foundation of success. Stop romanticizing ease. Ease has never built leaders. Pressure builds leaders. Resistance builds leaders. Responsibility builds leaders. The reason many people remain stuck is not because they lack talent, but because they protect their comfort more than their calling. You cannot protect both. One must die. Either your comfort will die or your potential will. Make a decision that disrupts your routine. Make a decision that scares your excuses. Put yourself in rooms where you are the least knowledgeable. Attempt tasks that expose your weaknesses. Embrace feedback that challenges your ego. Because every time you lean into discomfort, you announce to your future that you are ready for more. Growth is not convenient. Transformation is not comfortable. But greatness is always the reward for those who dare to step beyond what feels safe. What if I told you that the life you are praying for is trapped inside the mind you refuse to change? Pause and think about that. Many people want a new level of income, influence, impact, and success, but they are trying to access it with an outdated mindset. That is like installing advanced software on an old operating system. It simply will not function. Before your life can rise, your thinking must rise. Before your environment shifts, your perception must shift. Elevation is first a mental event before it ever becomes a physical reality. The old version of you thinks in terms of limitation. It asks, what if I fail? The upgraded version asks, what if I grow? The old mindset seeks security. The new mindset seeks expansion. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Your results are a reflection of your dominant thoughts. If you constantly rehearse doubt, you will perform insecurity. If you constantly rehearse vision, you will perform confidence. The mind is not just a processor of information, it is a generator of direction. Where your thoughts lead, your life follows. Let me challenge you with a powerful question. Are you thinking like the person you want to become, or are you thinking like the person you used to be? Because you cannot create a new future with old beliefs. If you see yourself as average, you will unconsciously perform at an average level. If you see yourself as incapable, you will avoid opportunities that require courage. Your identity shapes your behavior, and your behavior shapes your destiny. This is why upgrading your life without upgrading your mindset is temporary. You may experience short-term success, but you will sabotage it because your internal beliefs cannot sustain external growth. Many people focus on changing their circumstances while neglecting their cognition. They change cities but keep the same thinking. They change jobs but keep the same mindset. They change relationships but keep the same emotional patterns. Real transformation begins when you confront the beliefs that have been silently controlling you. Who told you that you are not qualified? Who convinced you that you are not capable? Who defined your limits? Often, the most dangerous prison is not external, it is psychological. Your mind must be trained to think beyond evidence. Visionaries do not wait for proof before they believe before there is proof. The upgraded mindset is proactive, not reactive. It does not wait for opportunity, it prepares for it. It does not blame circumstances, it builds capacity. When challenges arise, the old version of you sees obstacles. The new version sees instruction. Every setback becomes feedback. Every failure becomes education. That shift alone can transform your entire trajectory. You must become intentional about mental input. What you read, what you watch, who you listen to. These are not small decisions. They are architects of your thinking. If you consistently consume negativity, you will unconsciously adopt scarcity. If you surround yourself with mediocrity, excellence will feel intimidating. But when you expose your mind to higher standards, greater ideas, and disciplined thinkers, your internal expectations begin to expand. And once your expectations expand, your actions follow. Here is a principle that will change your life. You do not get what you want. You get what you believe you deserve. If deep within you believe that success is for others but not for you, you will resist it when it approaches. The upgraded mindset declares, I am capable of growth. I am worthy of expansion. I can learn what I do not yet know. That belief does not ignore weakness. It confronts it. It does not deny fear. It overrides it. Stop waiting for your life to change before you change your thinking. Change your thinking, and your life will be forced to follow. Train your mind to see possibility where others see impossibility. Train it to seek solutions instead of sympathy. Train it to act decisively instead of hesitating endlessly. Because the most powerful upgrade you will ever experience is not a new opportunity, it is a new perspective. And once your mind expands, it will never comfortably return to its former limitations. Let me confront you with a question that may shake your routine. How long will you continue to explain your dreams instead of executing them? There is a dangerous comfort in excuses. They protect your ego. They preserve your image. They give you a reason to delay responsibility. But they also quietly assassinate your potential. The old version of you has mastered the art of explanation. It can justify procrastination with intelligence. It can defend inaction with logic. It can disguise fear as waiting for the right time. But execution does not respond to excuses. Execution responds to decision. You say you want success, but are your actions in agreement with your declaration? Because intention without execution is hallucination. Vision without movement is fantasy. Dreams do not respond to wishes, they respond to work. The marketplace does not reward ideas, it rewards implementation. The world does not pay you for what you plan to do, it pays you for what you actually produce. That shift alone separates mediocrity from mastery. Excuses sound reasonable. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough support. But let me challenge that thinking. Time is not found, it is allocated. Money is not waited for, it is generated. Support is not guaranteed, it is earned through value. Every excuse you repeat strengthens your limitations. Every action you take weakens them. The old version of you is addicted to reasons. The upgraded version is addicted to results. Execution requires courage because action exposes you to judgment. When you move, you can be criticized. When you attempt, you can fail. When you build, you can be evaluated. So many people choose excuses because excuses are safe. They allow you to sit on the sidelines and critique others without risking your own reputation. But growth never happens on the sidelines. Momentum never begins in the audience. If you want to transform your life, you must enter the arena. Here is a principle that will elevate your performance. Clarity creates action, but commitment sustains it. Stop overthinking every step. Perfectionism is often fear wearing a sophisticated mask. You do not need perfect conditions. You need decisive movement. The first draft will not be flawless. The first attempt may not be impressive. The first result may not be extraordinary. But execution creates momentum, and momentum builds competence. Confidence is not the starting point of action. It is the byproduct of repeated execution. Ask yourself, what have you been postponing that you already know how to begin? That book outline, that business idea, that skill development, that difficult conversation. You do not need another motivational video. You need implementation. You do not need another affirmation. You need application. Information becomes transformation only when it is executed. Knowledge without action is wasted potential. Discipline is the engine of execution. When emotions fluctuate, discipline remains steady. There will be days when you do not feel inspired. There will be moments when doubt whispers louder than determination. But execution is not emotional, it is intentional. High performers understand that consistency defeats intensity. It is not what you do occasionally that changes your life. It is what you do daily. Small actions repeated with focus will outperform grand intentions delayed indefinitely. Stop negotiating with fear. Fear will never grant you permission to act. It will always suggest caution, delay, and retreat. But execution silences fear. When you move despite uncertainty, you weaken its authority over your mind. Each completed task builds evidence that you are capable. Each disciplined day strengthens your identity. Over time, you no longer identify as someone who talks about goals. You become someone who achieves them. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is not mystery, it is movement. Replace every excuse with a measurable step. Replace every complaint with constructive effort. Replace every delay with decisive action. Because at the end of the day, history does not remember intentions. It records execution. Let me ask you something that may challenge your daily routine. Who are you becoming when no one is watching? Because transformation is not built in public moments of applause. It is constructed in private moments of discipline. Everyone celebrates the spotlight, but very few respect the process. The old version of you is motivated by emotion. It works hard when it feels inspired and relaxes when it feels tired. But the upgraded version of you understands a powerful truth. Feelings are unstable, but discipline is dependable. Success is not an event, it is a pattern. It is not created in one dramatic breakthrough, but in hundreds of quiet, consistent decisions. The problem is that discipline is rarely exciting. It is repetitive. It is sometimes boring. Yet within that repetition lies mastery. The musician who practices scales daily, the athlete who trains before sunrise, the leader who studies when others scroll, they are not relying on motivation, they are relying on systems. And systems outperform emotions every time. You say you want to become greater, but are your daily habits aligned with that declaration? Because your future is hidden in your routine. Show me your daily schedule, and I will show you your destiny. If your mornings begin without intention, your days will drift without direction. If your evenings end without reflection, your growth will be accidental instead of strategic. Discipline is not about restriction, it is about alignment. It aligns your behavior with your vision. Here is what most people misunderstand. Discipline is freedom in disguise. It may feel restrictive at first, but it liberates you from chaos. When you discipline your time, you gain productivity. When you discipline your finances, you gain stability. When you discipline your thoughts, you gain clarity. When you discipline your body, you gain energy. Lack of discipline creates temporary comfort, but long-term regret. Discipline creates temporary discomfort, but long-term reward. The old version of you negotiates with commitments. It says, I'll do it later. I'll skip today. One break won't matter. But excellence is never built on exceptions. It is built on consistency. Every small compromise weakens your standard. Every repeated action strengthens your identity. And identity is powerful. When you begin to see yourself as disciplined, your behavior follows that belief. You no longer ask, should I do this? You declare, this is who I am. Consider this: champions are not extraordinary because of talent alone. They are extraordinary because of repetition. They master the fundamentals so thoroughly that performance becomes automatic. Discipline removes the drama from success. It replaces emotional unpredictability with structured progress. Instead of waiting to feel inspired to work, you work because it is scheduled. Instead of hoping for change, you engineer it. There will be days when discipline feels heavy. There will be mornings when your bed feels more attractive than your ambition. There will be moments when distractions seem easier than development. That is where identity is tested. Do you belong to your goals, or do your moods control you? Discipline answers that question daily. It says, I act based on commitment, not convenience. Imagine the compound effect of disciplined action over a year. 1 hour of focused improvement per day becomes hundreds of hours of mastery. Small nutritional choices transform your health. Consistent reading expands your intellect. Regular planning sharpens your execution. None of it appears dramatic in a single day, but over time, the difference becomes undeniable. People will call it talent. They will call it luck. But you will know it was structure. Stop waiting for massive breakthroughs. Build powerful habits. Stop chasing emotional highs. Create consistent systems, because the person you are becoming is shaped by what you repeatedly do. And when discipline becomes your lifestyle, growth stops being accidental. It becomes inevitable. Ladies and gentlemen, your future is too important to be managed by your past. Outgrow the old version of you. Bury mediocrity, starve distraction, feed discipline, and step boldly into the person your purpose demands you to become. The next level of your life is not waiting for luck. It is waiting for leadership. Lead yourself first. And when you conquer yourself, the world will no longer be your greatest challenge. It will be your assignment.